In this video, we're going to start looking at reflections. So I've gone back to the first page of our Chapter 11 notes. Remember that a reflection is going to be a flip. So here's our information on reflections. Let me switch over. Okay, so we're going to find the axis of reflection, which is the line that we're going to be reflecting across. And then we want to draw the mirror image on the other side. We do have some information here about the line that we draw should be perpendicular. So we'll talk a little bit about that as we work our first example. So if you switch over to your first reflection example, it should look like this. All right, so we want to draw the reflection of the quadrilateral over the y-axis. All right, so here is the line we're reflecting across. So if I just go ahead and kind of draw that in. All right, that wasn't my straightest line, but that's okay. All right, so what I want to do is I want to think about this point D. Now, if I look at this line right here, that is perpendicular to my y-axis. It makes a 90-degree angle. So if I count the distance from D to that line, it is 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 on the other side, and that's going to be my reflected point. So that'll be D prime. I can do the same thing with C. Notice it's 8 units away. So if I go 8 units this way, then I have to go 8 units on the other side, and that would give me C prime. All right, so let's come up here to A. I can see that it is 5 units away from the y-axis, so I would count 5 to the line and then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the other side. And that is going to be my new A. Then B is 10 away, so if I go 10 on the other side, that should land right here. All right, so when we draw in our shape, it's going to be a congruent shape. It's going to be the same shape, but it has been turned over, so it is going to be a mirror image. Okay, not my best drawing, but that's okay. That last line was not very good. Let me try that again. All right, so it is congruent, but it has been flipped over. So I also want to go back and I want to find the coordinates of my points. So we're going to do the original first. All right, so if I look at point A, remember to get a location, we start at the origin or the middle of the graph, and our first number tells us left to right. So to get to A, I have to go right 5 and up 6. So that gives me the ordered pair 5, 6. To get to B, I have to go right 10 and up 6. So that's going to be the point 10, 6. C, I go right 8 and up 1. And for D, I go right 3 and up 1. So what we want to do is we want to compare that to the points we got after we reflected. So I'm going to match my colors here. All right, so if I look at A prime, if I start in the middle, that is left 5 and up 6. Sorry, my son's playing his French horn, so we'll get music in the back. B prime will be left 10 and up 6. C prime will be left 8 and up 1. D prime is left 3 and up 1. So what you might notice here is from the original to the new, what happened is we got a sign change on the X. So this is what happened when we reflected over the y-axis. So let's look at our next example. Okay, we're going to start with the same picture, but this time we're going to reflect over the x-axis. Okay, so we're going to go across this axis. All right, so if we start thinking about our points, this point C is only 1 away from my line, so I need to go 1 on the other side, and that'll be my C prime. Same for D. It's 1 away from that axis, so I go 1 on the other side, and that'll be D prime. B's a little bit higher. It's 6 units away, so I go to the axis and I want to go down to -6 on the other side. And then A is also 6 away, so I go 6 on the other side. And notice I'm coming straight across, so here's that perpendicular line we were talking about. So I don't want to move, I don't want to shift it to the left or to the right. I want to come straight down on that. All right, so if we go ahead and connect that to get our shape. All right, we can see that it is the same shape. It has just been flipped over. So if you imagine folding along that pink line, then your original shape would land right on your new one. So for our coordinates, now I'm stealing these. Oh, I didn't take that off of there, sorry. I'm stealing these from the previous problem because it's the same shape. So here are our original coordinates, A, B, C, and D. And now we want to look at the translated coordinates after we reflected. All right, so let me do my color again. All right, so notice to get to A prime right here, I have to go right 5 and down 6. So that's 5, -6. To get to B, I go right 10 and down 6. To get to my new C, I go right 8 and down 1. And to get to my new D, I go right 3 and down 1. So notice from the original to the new, what we're seeing is a sign change on the Y. Okay, so whichever axis you're flipping across, you'll get a sign change on the other letter. So if you're flipping across the Y, your X changes signs, and if you're flipping across your X, your Y changes signs.